will stay mainly dry through the rest of your Monday, but it is also going to be hot and humid with heat advisories in place for a majority of eastern KELOLAND, so you will want to keep that in mind. Without the heat index, that's still going to be hot all the same. Mid-90s across much of the region, and we stay mainly dry by day, but there is an isolated thunderstorm chance that we're going to keep in place for the time being. Beyond that, pretty warm by night as well, 60s and low 70s for lows. We'll talk about the rest of your forecast coming up, but until then, Midday in KELOLAND starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, Midday in KELOLAND.
Well, this midday, our coverage starts along the shores of McCook Lake near North Sioux City, South Dakota. Water levels rose faster than expected, knocking houses off their foundations, tearing apart the shoreline, creating dangerous drop-offs, and filling the lake with debris. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Hansen. The flood damage continues to mount this midday. These are just a few of the areas authorities are monitoring. You can see McCook Lake near the top of your screen, and the Big Sioux River, it's to the right. The Big Sioux set new records in several communities upstream and most recently crested in North Sioux City. This midday remains well above flood stage.
These are serious flood levels. Everyone needs to take the situation seriously, and I hope you'll communicate with your neighbors and your family members to be prepared. We're calling for a voluntary evacuation of the Dakota Dunes area and asking the community members to do so and to remove themselves and their family and their belongings from those areas. And with those current projections that we're seeing, the community is also evaluating all the levee systems that we have.
The county currently is about maxed out on being able to do water rescues at this point. As we move further into this incident and it becomes more serious in this area, we may not have the ability to rescue people from their homes if they continue to stay there after they've been told to evacuate.
Now, Interstate 29 could reopen later today in Union County. The state shut it down Sunday to build a levee near the number 4 exit just north of the state line. Until it reopens, drivers should expect lengthy detours. Well, several communities in northwest Iowa are also underwater this midday. One of the hardest hit is the town of Rock Valley, which is on the northern edge of Sioux County. KELOLAND's Jordan DeSmet joins us with a live look at the conditions there. Good afternoon, Jordan.
Well, good afternoon, Tom. Well, you see behind me, there's crews working to try to mitigate these floodwaters. That water that you see behind me is floodwater. There's also a trailer home right on the side of the road that the floodwaters brought over to that side of the road. No one's been able to go in and out of the town from the west side. Water was over that road. It looks like it has subsided here a little bit. It will be a hotter and drier day. That water should come down a little bit, but people are going to have to work in these really hot and humid temperatures. So that's what it's like here. Back to you, Tom.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Well, as people clean up from the floods, they will also be dealing, as he just said, with the extreme heat today. For a look at the conditions across KELOLAND, here's meteorologist Adam Rutt. Man, it is going to get hot out there, huh?
Yeah, and considering how absent this heat and humidity has been overall so far, this is going to be a little bit of a change of pace. If you are going to be out this afternoon helping with cleanup efforts, please be sure to take frequent breaks and stay hydrated because it is going to get uncomfortable through the afternoon. There's Falls Park, 86 right now as we kick off the afternoon. South wind at 16 miles per hour. It is at least good to see that some of the waters out there are receding. But one thing I do also want to show is the fact that we do have the water receding a little bit more down toward the bridge. We'll switch the view a little bit. That is East Falls Park Drive, and there is at least a little bit of a gap now between where the waters are and where the bottom of the bridge is. 2 days ago, there was no such gap in place at all. So at least we do have that working in our favor. Meanwhile, we'll go from there and take a look at Parker. That is the West Fork of the Vermilion River that we can see from our camera. Those waters also slowly beginning to recede after cresting not too long ago. So yes, we are getting improvement. But no, it's not going to be very fast. It is going to be a slow process. But days like today will help. Just without the humidity. It's 86 also in Mitchell, 90 already in Yankton, 92 Rapid City, 97 in Pine Ridge, 91 for Valentine. And again, these are air temperatures. This does not take into consideration the dew point, which we'll get to in a little bit. Winds also predominantly out of the south if you're East River, more of a northerly direction out west. So that's taking the edge off the heat ever so slightly, but it's a little solace. Heat advisories are in place in orange for basically everybody East River, with a few exceptions up toward the northeastern corner of South Dakota and over toward Mulbridge as well. This will last through the evening, with heat indices approaching and exceeding 100 to 105 degrees, so please be careful if you must be out. Daytime highs today, again, this is without the heat index, mid to upper 90s in many portions of southeastern KELOLAND and even to the northeast as well, where they don't get a whole lot of relief from this either. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds through much of the day. Out west, also 90s, even near 100 in a few areas. We do have a few small opportunities for some unsettled weather this evening and Tuesday, which we'll talk about. And then we're watching the end of the week as well. More on that coming up in your extended forecast.
Thank you, Adam. Well, Sioux Falls continues to feel the effects of last week's rain, but the streets across town are at least now open for business. About 20 streets in the city were closed at some point during the storm. Street operations manager Dustin Hansen says about 30 to 40 people from multiple departments worked to remove water from the roads.
We'd close them, and then within a few hours, the water may recede. We'd open them back up. And then there was other ones that were kind of more permanent over the last couple, 3 days, to where we were opening some up as late as last night, 7, 8 o'clock. And then we had a couple yet this morning that we had to open up.
We will look at how the heavy rain impacted the city's storm drainage system. That's tonight on KELOLAND News. Well, Camp Leaf Erikson in Sioux Falls is picking up the pieces left from the flooding over the weekend. Staff tells at one point the entire camp was covered by the water. The river has since receded, and now they are in cleanup mode out there. They're also asking for donations to help rebuild some of those structures and equipment that was damaged. KELOLAND's Lauren Solik will have the full story tonight on KELOLAND News.